Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to another video on Starseed Academy. My name is Jenny. Happy New Year. So that's what I want to talk about in this video. It's going to be all about 2022 and the kinds of energies and things that we can expect to experience this year. Moving through 2020 and 2021 was so intense. And I'm ready for a new year with new energy. And so what I did was channel a lot of this. The first message that I channeled was from Source, right from God's Source. And then after that, I went to the Galactic Federation of Light. So the reason that I go to different sources for information and guidance is because they have different things to offer. So if you're a channeler and you channel from Source, you will find that they're more general and broad messages, and they apply to a lot of people, but they're not super detailed and specific, but they are really, really helpful to do with like wide energetic themes. And then when it comes to the Galactic Federation of Light, specifically like the Council for Humanity, then they can get really super specific for you about Earth and what's going on Earth and what you can expect. So I utilized both sources. I do want to jump right in because there's actually quite a bit to cover, and I don't want this to be a super long video, and I'm going to try not to talk too fast. And then I also think that I might be coming back and doing a part 2 because I felt like I could have kept going. And at one point I just, like in this meeting with the Galactic Federation of Light, I was just like, okay, well, I have a lot. Let's start with this. I don't want the video to be super long, but there was definitely more that they were willing to share and was able to come through. So I'm going to like go with this for now, give us some time to integrate this and work with this information. And then we'll see in a period of time if there needs to be a part 2. So, all right. So, and you can, join in the discussion in the comments below. Like, how was your 2021? What themes were you working through? I was working through the themes of expansion, really working on a lot of expansion within and without. So within my energy in my own self and in my life, and a ton of transformation and changes for me. So maybe you also experienced those themes in 2021. And so let's talk now about 2022 and what we can see and experience and have coming up for us. So the first message was straight from Source, and this is it was called, each kind of message has a little title. This one is the Split Widens. And you can picture it like this giant, like 2 lines, like separating further and further and further. And so I already know that you know what that's going to be. That's the remaining old world of the 3D and the people that continue to live in that existence and timeline through choice. And there's nothing wrong with that. People that continue to exist in 3D, they do that for a reason. They are needing that still. It's still very important for them. They're still along for the ride and still very much a part of creating that world. And so that's also something big to understand, is that everyone that participates in that world is continuing to power it and create it and keep it going. So where this affects you, because if you're watching this, you're probably on this part. And so we've talked about this a lot, but I will just quickly sum this up in case you haven't seen it on this channel. I've talked about it in a few videos about how the timelines, this is in the Mantis transmission video, so you can watch the Mantis transmission. But anyway, it's about how people are creating higher timelines, and they are coming out of the 3D world and existing in higher realms. Like you can have a 5D highest timeline life while still here on Earth. And it can get confusing because it is like there are 2 societies and 2 worlds living alongside each other. And many of us have chosen to leave the 3D old world and to start to work on creating this new world. And we start within our own timeline. That's how the new Earth is created. Everyone creates their own happy, high vibrational world, and then we connect them together. Okay, so by you like coming up out of the matrix or the 3D experience and having a higher timeline where you do not live by those kinds of rules where you are your own creator and manifester, and you are unplugging from all of those programs that they have connected us to, specifically the 9 to 5 program. That's a huge one. Living in a 5D timeline means you no longer subscribe to that belief. You do not believe that you need to, have a boss and a 9 to 5 or any, it doesn't, that's just the title of the program, but it can be any hours. Basically, it's just that the belief is that the abundance comes from an outside source. It doesn't come from you. And that's just not true. And we know that's not true because everything comes from within. Everything that we create, it comes from within. Love, relationships, health, it's all coming from within you. It's your frequency and your state and your beliefs and your thoughts and the words that you speak that create your life, your health, your abundance, or lack of, like everything. Okay. So that's the people that are in the 3D old world. They are still plugged into those programs. And then we unplug and we come up here and we live up here. And we're like creating our own belief structures, creating our own abundance, living a lot more free and letting go of the things that are no longer aligned. That's super important, okay? Because those things that are no longer aligned will pull you back down into this world. So you have to let go of everything that's connected to this world, or things that are no longer aligned, like old relationships, toxic friendships, anything that drains you or brings you down, jobs that you resent. And this we talked about in the video called Energy Leaks. Okay, so check that one out too. Anyway, so the split widens. You are going to then be tested with patience, okay? Because regarding friends and family, because they are still down here, and now you've set yourself free and you're living in this like 5D beautiful timeline of existence, of freedom. And like, you're not watching the news, you're not following these programs, you're not being brainwashed into it. You're literally living this completely different, much more free, happier lifestyle. And you can feel that darker influence start to pull you down when you start connecting with it again, when you start connecting with it through the news, entertainment, listening to people talk about it, like friends and family. So again, you'll be tested with patience regarding this, because you're going to feel like, how could they still be in that? How could they still be living like that? How could they still be so governed by fear? And that's where compassion and understanding really need to come into play on your part. So when you feel frustrated and when you feel impatient with your friends, family, or just the old programming of the third dimension, have some compassion and understanding, knowing that it exists for a reason and that it still has a purpose. Because many, many people are so connected to it that I feel like if it just imploded at this point, they would die along with it. So we're giving people more time. We're giving people more opportunities to move through the heavier lessons and join us up here. And there are a lot of people that are using these lower, very heavy, very controlling energies and vibes to really learn deep lessons about duality and about their soul, and clearing up old lessons and old karma that they need to clear up. So we can't always understand why someone needs to continue on in that kind of a way. So it's best to just have that compassion for them, because every soul here on earth, it is a wise soul. We have had, I feel like I just had, sorry, that was creepy. I feel like something just looked at me through the window outside. Hopefully not. Definitely non-human. Okay, let me do this transmission about 2022. My God, don't let any dark entities come in here on this. It's been a challenge lately. Okay, and maybe that's something that you're going through too. And I've shared a lot about that on this channel, about being challenged by the darkness, but it always helps us rise and it always helps us to grow. But okay, where was I? That really threw me. That gave me like a really creepy feeling. Like I felt like I was being watched for a sec. So I'm just going to clear out any fear that sent in, so that I can continue on with this super high vibrational transmission and continue my service to the light without fear. Nothing can sway me from this path. So yes, compassion and understanding, that's your heart chakra, that's your high heart. Um, that's those angelic vibes of that agape love, where you love the souls here on earth because you know that they are all divine. No matter how, like, please don't call them sheep or sheeple. I hate when people do that, because I know that every soul here on earth is doing their absolute best to awaken, and it's all divinely timed. It's not time for everyone yet. It's not, because the 3D world has to continue on for a little while longer. And we'll talk about, how much longer in a while at the end of the video. It exists for a reason, and the people that are holding it in place are working on their souls, and they are supporting other people that are also moving still through those darker soul lessons. Like, basically it all has a purpose. It is all divinely timed, and we need to trust in the divine plan, because every time I tune into it, I do feel like we're on track. I do feel that way. We're on track to our golden age that is approaching. And the crumbling, the purge, the dark night of the soul that the 3D matrix and world is experiencing is on track. We're okay. It was supposed to be this chaotic. It was supposed to be this crazy, right? Okay, so the old world programming then becomes very obvious to you. So that's the next point. It's so obvious. It's ridiculous. You literally can't even watch like a show or a movie, or like obviously the news, or like scroll through social media or see these ridiculous commercials that the government is putting out. And you're like, really? Like, is anyone buying this? It's so obvious, the programming that they're trying to instill and how they're trying to rule through fear to control. Fear creates control and all of that. So it's just super obvious to you. It's ridiculous. You think it is now. It's just going to be, this is for 2022. So just imagine how obvious their games and agendas are going to become, especially when you have the knowledge that we have, right? Okay, so then the next point, we're still under the heading, the split widens. Okay, so you're going to be tested with patience, use, compassion, and understanding. The old world programming will become very, very ridiculously obvious, more so even crazy. And then it's going to start for you to feel very inauthentic to live in both worlds. And you're going to get nudged right out of the 3D eventually. A lot of people, this is happening in 2022. Many of us have already left the 3D, but a lot of us, a lot of awakened souls, beautiful, bright, wise souls, are still stuck when it comes to their work. They're still stuck on the, how do I create my own abundance? The programming that's very deeply ingrained to tell you that you can't create your own abundance, so then you don't believe it enough, so then you actually don't end up manifesting that program. And maybe we should do a video on that. Let me know if you want to do a video on that, or have I talked about that so much that you totally get it? I know I've talked about it a lot, like the originations of abundance and lack, a lot to do with abundance and programming. Let me know if you need more. I will happily go there again. If that's what's keeping you stuck in 3D, let me help you with that. Like, I can go there for you on a video like this, or we can work together. Check out the links for a one-on-one with me, because you'll start to feel very inauthentic at your work. That's where it's going to hit for a lot of you. That doesn't mean you won't feel it in other areas of your life, like your family, some friendships, your relationship, some certain habits that you have. So it's going to feel really inauthentic for you to go to work and feel like you have to be somebody different. That's what I mean by inauthentic. If there is any part of your life where you do not feel like you can be 100% yourself, then that part of your life needs to evolve. It needs to change. Something needs to be let go of, or, you've got to become more aligned. So really be honest when you look at your life and see, what area of my life do I feel inauthentic in? Am I more myself at home than I am at work? Am I more myself when I'm alone than I am with my partner? Am I more myself with this friend but not this one? I don't know. Like, it's really up to you to see, but you will start to feel that inauthenticity, like very tangibly. It'll be a very real thing. And that will be a very big clue for you that that is the area that needs to be upgraded in your life. Okay. So, and you will be nudged out, and there will be more people than ever in 2022 than we have seen since, that will be moving out of their jobs and creating their own abundance. And I am celebrating that, because as you do that for yourself, you create opportunities for other people to do it as well, in so many ways, energetically, actual opportunities, like physical opportunities. So the more people that break free of that 9-to-5 programming, then the more people we set free. So that's what I see, a lot of people starting to feel inauthentic at their work, starting to feel icky about it, really just can't stomach it anymore. And then they just stop. And then you just have to move into the manifestation creator that you are, to create the timeline of your dreams. Okay. And we'll talk a bit about that later too. Okay. So that was from source, that whole message about the split widening and the things that it would, and how it would feel about the inauthenticity and all of that. That was from source. And then I tuned into the Galactic Federation of Light. So that's the next part of this video. Okay. So the Galactic Federation of Light is a very large federation that is like an umbrella for smaller councils in it. In the main meeting room for the Galactic Federation of Light, it's very high ceilings, this white room. I see it as like a horseshoe shaped desks or seating, and I kind of stand in the center, and all around me are different representatives of every star nation, right? So every different kind of constellation or species or whatever, they're all there. Okay, so that's the main meeting room, and there's a representative of each star nation, but there's also, working at the Galactic Federation of Light, a lot of councils. There's the Council for Humanity, the Pleiadian Council of Light, the Orion Council of Light. You might be on a council. I am on the Orion Council of Light, and I often meet with the Council for Humanity. So that's who I spoke to. I was in the main meeting room, but it was mostly the Council for Humanity that I was speaking with. The first thing that they just said was, a lot is going to happen. A lot. You thought a lot happened last year and the year before. A lot is going to happen. So much so that there isn't one theme. The other years, we've been able to say, okay, the theme of this year is expansion or transformation, or there isn't one theme. There's so much that's going to happen that I literally will not be able to fit it all into this video, but we're going to fit as much as we can. So let's dive right in. Okay. So from Council for Humanity at the Galactic Federation of Light, the very first message was breaking free. Here's what they mean by that. The newly awakened souls awakening on Earth now and into 2022 are a force. They don't hesitate, and they don't need a lot of repetition. They see something unaligned, they drop it, and they trust. So some of us older, veterans of awakened souls, can use these beautiful powerhouses, these newly awakened souls, as inspiration, because they are not coming in the way that we came in. Knowing nothing, not sure what to do. They're coming in and they are connecting the pieces. They are coming online really quickly. They are figuring stuff out at lightning speed. Their Earth missions, everything, they're figuring it out. And when something is not aligned and they see it, say, if we're continuing with talking about work a lot, if they see that their job is unaligned and it's not serving them fully, they can just let it go and fully trust and surrender to the truth, the process, that the next more aligned thing will come, because they moved out what was unaligned, because they dropped it out of their life. They moved that old energy out to allow something new to come in. And then instead of being overwhelmed by the fear and the programming, they're calm about it. They're confident. They surrender, and it works out because of that. It will work out for them. Okay, so use them as inspiration, and you will know, you will sense a newly awakened soul. They are so full of fire. They are so full of hope and magic and all of that. And so that being said, the next message is to the veterans. So I would consider myself a veteran awakened soul, because I've been in this state for so long. So here was a message for us. The spark of your hope and magic, it's time to bring it back to life. Okay. So a lot of us have felt like a dulling of our magic, a dulling of the hope that we've had, of that spark of life. And we see it in the newly awakened souls. And I think, I remember feeling like that. I remember having all that energy and that life and everything inside me. So you can use them as inspiration, but you also need to bring it back yourself. And there are lots of different ways to bring yourself back into that powerful place of alignment. And the suggestion here from the Galactic Federation of Light is to revisit a few things to get yourself back there, to revisit manifestation. Like, go back to the basics. Remember how good you are at it. Because it's like, we know we can manifest anything that we want, and then we don't for some reason. Like, and I'm totally guilty of doing that. So you know that you're capable of creating a life of your dreams, and yet you want something and you find yourself like thinking about it a lot or wishing it was there, but not actually taking the action steps to manifest it. So get back to the basics on manifestation. There are lots of videos on this channel about it. I like the video called Avalon. That's a lot about manifestation. And then also there's some in the Beyond series, I think Beyond Manifestation. Yeah, that's a good one. That one too. Okay, so revisit manifestation. That's going to bring the spark back, believe it or not. Like, remember the very first time you ever read the book, The Secret, how on fire and how alive you felt? Like, it's sometimes the simplest things that we need to revisit. So even reread that book. Okay, then the next thing to revisit is the flow. Probably if you're not feeling that like super magical spark and hope and all those beautiful things, then you're probably not in the flow anymore. And, it's normal to fall in, in and out of the flow here and there, but we should try to redirect ourselves back into it when we fall out of it. And the flow is momentum. The flow is movement. The flow is having a spiritual routine that you stick to and you start to get really consistent. That will put you back in the flow. That's one of the fastest things. Whether it's in the morning or in the evening, you stretch your body, do a meditation, do some journaling, that'll get you back in the flow. Exercise, walks, going for walks in nature, that'll get you back in the flow. Flowing with communication, like with a loved one. I love like singing, that gets me back in the flow. Dancing, like, what is it for you? And if you have something that I didn't mention, please share it in the comments, because sometimes people struggle and they don't know how to get back in the flow, and they try things and those things maybe didn't work and they need some new ideas. So I invite you to please share how you get back in the flow. And then when you get back in the flow, you'll know, because the signs will start again. All of a sudden, everywhere it's 1111, 444, 152, 222. Like, it all starts again. And you're like, oh, I remember what this felt like. This is actually really exciting, right? You've been there. The flow with the signs and the momentum, and things are happening, and you're always in the right place at the right time, and you feel yourself growing and expanding. You feel your soul literally learning. It's so powerful. So that's where we need to get back to. And we can be so inspired by these newly awakened souls that are so effortlessly there. It's beautiful. It's so amazing. Okay. The next point under breaking free from the Galactic Federation Council for Humanity is stop settling for less in your life. Where are you doing this? Beautiful soul, why are you doing this? You do not need to settle. You do not need to settle because you're safe. Okay, so that would probably be like a relationship. Well, this is really safe. This has been already, it's 20 years in. I can't, waste all that time. I mean, I don't know. Whatever it is for you, where you're settling. So you need to like revamp it and make it better. Or if it's very obvious that it's unaligned and you can't fix it, then you need to let it go. And that can be a relationship. That can be a job. That can be a friendship. That can be a habit, a way of being, eating, living, maybe some unhealthy habits like smoking, drinking. Where are you settling in your life? Where is your soul unsatisfied? What area of your life is not bright and vibrant and full of high frequencies? And why are you settling for that when you could have a fully magical life in every area? Yes, it's possible. Yes, it exists. Yes, it takes work to get there. And if you've been following my journey, you've seen a lot of work to get there. Getting sober, getting divorced, moving multiple times, 2 times in the last few months, being brave and courageous, trying new things, putting myself out there, expanding my business. Like, where can you bring the fire and the life back into your energy? So think about that. Where are you stagnant? Where is it boring? Where are you settling? Where is it dull, like a dull color? Okay, I'll leave it there for now because I think that's individual to each one of us. And I'm just going to flip the page here on my notes. And we have one final point under the heading Breaking Free. And that is to remember who you are and who you've been. Remember who you are, first of all. Who are you? An eternal soul made of frequencies. You're just one big frequency, right? And light and love and memories and consciousness and a personality. And who have you been? Many, many powerful beings across time and space with so many powerful soul gifts. So remember who you really are. Think about yourself as the eternal soul within a human. Yes, you are human. Yes, you are the eternal soul. Yes, you are both. So don't forget about one or the other. Like, a lot of us fall into just playing the human role and character for like a long time. And we forget how magical we are. And then we fall out of flow. So just remember who you really are. Meditate on that. Really think about that. And a great way I would suggest is to tune in by connecting to Source Light and your team and Gaia. And then ask the question, who am I? Please show me who I really am. Oh, I just had this memory pop in when I did this with cards. I do like to do cards for myself. I don't offer them like as a service because they're just for me. I'm not, I find that they distract me. Like, I was going to say I'm not trained in them, but that's not true because I've taken courses for sure on card readings. And I enjoy it for myself and my friends and family. But I do find that it's very like fun and beautiful and entertaining. But I find for some reason that cards distract me. So in a reading, I find it actually super distracting when I really should just be like channeling for that person the pure information and not be distracted by the cards. But anyway, that wasn't the point. The point is, I just had this memory of me asking that question, like sitting down, meditating, and I had some cards with me. And I said, can you tell me who I am? Who am I really? Like at the most core essence, who am I? And I shuffled the cards and I pulled out a unicorn. And I was like, oh, well, of course. Of course. I mean, that makes perfect sense for me. That's exactly how I feel. So I do feel like a unicorn soul and spirit. And so maybe you could do something like that. Little things like that throughout your day or week help you to remember who you really are, to connect and to inspire you again. Okay. And then remember who you have been. That's going to lead us into our next point. Okay. So the next headline here is the next main point. And this is soul remembrance and retrieval. So soul remembrance and retrieval is going to become very important to people in 2022. And I've already had a taste of that and felt very called to start offering soul retrievals. So far, I've only offered it to my membership group, but I do plan on making that a service soon. So here's why it's important. Because then you're fully healing back to wholeness. Okay, so if you have parts of your soul that have been damaged or fractured off or have gone missing, like they're gone from you, or have been turned off. Like in my case, one of my soul retrievals was that it didn't like leave my soul. It wasn't a soul fracture that I had to call back in. It was like a piece of soul that had just been like the light switch turned off, like too much trauma, just turn that right off. And I had to do everything that I could to turn that back on. And then, of course, going through that is like healing a lot of trauma and density. And that's why it's so important, because you're healing density from your soul, you're healing your frequency, and you're bringing every part of you up into 5D, up into the higher frequencies of love and forgiveness and compassion. And if you're not doing that, then your ascension can only go so far before you need to start looking at the parts of your soul that are fractured and missing or turned off or in pain. And most of the time, this is through like past life regressions, or it's actually parallel life regressions and healing. So once you do that work, the soul work of like it's remembrance and a retrieval. So you need to remember that part of yourself, and you can do this, personally with meditation. You can ask for it. Just ask your team, like, what is the lifetime that I need to know about the most right now? What's the most important for me to remember? Please send me that. Or you can have a reading with someone, like I offer these types of readings. And after the remembrance comes the retrieval, which is where the healing happens, where you have to fully feel what that piece of you went through. You have to feel it. You have to grieve it. You have to move through the emotions. And then there's the integration. You integrate it back into yourself. And just a quick note that this can be from a past parallel life or childhood, because I had this happen for me with a part of me from childhood that had like fled during a traumatic incident. It just left, right? And then you bring it back. And if you've ever had repressed memories, if you suffer from PTSD like I have, then you know what a repressed memory is. And when they it's like they're turned off. And then when they turn on, it's kind of very similar to a soul retrieval. All of a sudden you remember this whole scene that you didn't remember before. Then you have to move through the emotions, the healing, the forgiveness, the trauma. And then after the healing, you can integrate that part of you back. Okay, so just know that this can be about childhood too. So once you integrate that back into yourself, what you'll experience is more power, more confidence, and soul gifts a lot of the time. These other versions of you have things to offer, right? Once they are healed and they're back with you, I always say I feel more like myself. Just because you're integrating like different lifetimes and versions of you, it doesn't mean you're not going to be yourself anymore. I actually feel more like myself, but I feel like I have more power available, more energy available. I feel more confident, and I have these new soul gifts coming online with each integration. And so many people during 2022 will be organically led down this path. They will just start to feel like that's what they need. It will just be an organic desire and want, and they will start searching for it. And if that's you, then know that everything that you need exists within you, and your team can help you, and meditation is so powerful. But if you want something beyond that, then please reach out to me for a one-on-one service, because I can help you with that. And then the next point here under soul remembrance and retrieval is it's not your imagination. Because a lot of us have a soul memory come back and we're like, whoa, I must have made that up. I must have just created that. And that's not the case. I mean, if you see yourself as, I don't know, some kind of crazy being or a mermaid or an angel or a fairy or a dragon, I don't know, and you think that's ridiculous, like I'm making that up, I wouldn't be so quick to assume that you're making it up. It's not your imagination. If it's coming back to you, it's coming back to you for a reason. There's no coincidences. There's no mistakes. It's all divinely aligned and organized, especially when you connect first to white light of source, you connect to God's source, and you set that intention, that what comes through will be of divine truth. And then you have something like that, then you really have to trust in it. You just have to believe. So it's not your imagination. And a lot of people are going to get these crazy, fantastical Atlantis lifetimes, and they're like, whoa, really? And it's like, yeah, that's how amazing you are. That's how many lifetimes you've had. Maybe you just have all of these lifetimes. You're like, how could I have all of these different sides of myself? But we do. We're multi-dimensional. Okay, so then the next point here for soul remembrance and retrieval is look at who is leaving or entering your life. And that probably has a lot to do with a past life as well. When someone is leaving your life and you don't feel that connection with them anymore, that means that you've healed the past life karma with them, and you've moved through it. It's been healed, transmuted or integrated or whatever. And now they're ready to leave. And now look at who's coming into your life. And there's a clue at a soul connection from a past life, because they're entering into your life for a reason, especially in 2022. Okay. So that's a clue for you. The people that are entering into your life are going to be people that you've known before in other lifetimes, that are there to either work with you, support you, or there's stuff to heal. And it's all like puzzle pieces that create a bigger picture. And so it's like, it's cool. You can think of it like you're this investigator and you're putting together all of these puzzle pieces of yourself. And if each lifetime was a puzzle piece and you had lots of lifetimes, all of them together create the whole soul, the whole self. That's who you really are. So that's why I say when people get really attached to the identity, like, oh, I'm a Pleiadian. I came from the Pleiades. I'm a Pleiadian starseed. That's what I am. And it's like, okay, that's one life that you've had. Just remember that you've probably had hundreds of lifetimes, and some of us thousands of lifetimes. And you may have had this connection to the Pleiades, but you've also been this and this and this and this. And don't just look at one small puzzle piece of who you are when you are so much more. Okay, so don't box yourself in. And people are always wanting to know their starseed origins. Your past lives are your starseed origins. It's completely connected. Okay, so your starseed origins were lifetimes that you lived as this soul around the universe or galaxy in different places as different kinds of beings, not always human, right? Your soul origins are your past lives. It's the same. So if you're looking for starseed origins or soul origins, either one, if you're looking for your origins, the answers are in your past lives. Okay, who were you before? Where did you live? What did you learn? What were your gifts and all of that? And then if you go back far enough, we all come from source. That's the true origin. Okay, so we're all brothers and sisters from source. And then we all started out in different places in the universe and galaxy, and then had more and more and more lifetimes that create layers of like the complicated beings that we are. And then in 2022, people are going to be waking up to their healer selves, their channeling selves, their activator selves, because that's what we need in 2022. More healers, more channelers, more activators. Okay, we need those kinds of souls coming online. And so that's probably you if you're watching this channel. And so a great way to come into that part of you, to become that again, is through these kinds of soul retrievals and remembrance. Okay. All right. So we're going to leave that point and move on. The next point for 2022 from the Galactic Federation of Light Council for Humanity is called 3D games. Okay. So we are all very well versed on the games that the 3D world plays. Most of the time they play games of manipulation and control, right? It just is what it is. That's what the world is built on. A lot of manipulation and trickery, which leads to control. And it's all very like hidden or not so much anymore. So they want to talk about, they wanted to talk to me about the next games that were going to be played in the 3D. So the next games that you can expect to see are going to be control over finances through limitations and regulations. Okay. Because they've already controlled the field of healthcare. That's completely under control now by like a larger, darker agenda, right? So these are the games of the third dimension. They've got healthcare locked down now, pretty much, right? Most people are following that game through. The next thing is going to be finances and money. And then after that, they're going to go after like people's homes and real estate by asserting control through limitations and regulations. And remember that fear is the weapon that they use. So always look for that. That's how they gain control, is through fear. So there'll be some kind of fear tactic, scare tactic around finances and some kind of crash or whatever. And then their suggestions will be actually ways that they are going to gain control over you. So that'll be coming up very soon for finances. And then after that, homes and real estate. And then they will continue doing what they're doing with people's healthcare. And that's already worldwide, right? So, and that's why we have, it's not all doom and gloom. Like we said at the beginning of this video, it exists like that for a reason. That world is needed still by so many souls that are learning dark, deep lessons that need to be learned, heavy stuff. They need to move through that before they can enjoy some of the lighter stuff. So instead of trying to fight back against it, it's actually better for us to create a higher timeline in our freedom, in our 5D freedom from their programming of the 3D, like free of all that programming, creating this new life. Because remember, that is the origins of the new earth. It's everyone beginning to create their own timeline up here, and then eventually they're all going to connect. Okay, so we're creating the foundation already for the new earth. And then the next thing about the 3D games was the light entering in, which is great to see when that happens in the 3D world. This is actually going to be surprisingly, it's through entertainment industry, which we would all, I mean, a lot of us would consider to be just completely hijacked by like brainwashed programming. But there's actually going to be some infiltration by the light and truth. So you might see that coming up in 2022. A lot of us are going to pick up on that, like, whoa, there's a lot of truth in that. Wait a minute. Can they say that? Like, that's, I understand that to be true. Okay, so that'll be the entertainment industry. And I don't know if that'll be music, movies, shows, some of everything. I don't know, but you can expect to see some of it, not all of it, being infiltrated by light and truth. So that'll be cool. Okay, and then the very last point that we're going to touch on now regarding what we can expect in 2022 for like energies and the different experiences that we're going to have this year is called Hidden Frequencies Emerge. So with Gaia's help, we are going to see a lot of hidden worlds or frequencies beginning to emerge. The first one that came up was Lemuria. So Lemuria energies and frequencies have never left the earth. They are just so high in their frequency that some people can, but most people are not able to tap into the world that still exists. So here's how you can explain this. So you know how we're living in a physical world, but there's also a spirit world that lives right alongside, and nobody would question that, would they? We know that spirits and ghosts and all of that, earthbound souls that didn't cross over, they all exist. I would say probably in like the 4th dimension, where they're above like a physical dense body and they're kind of trapped at that level. That world of ghosts and spirits, it does exist alongside us right now. It's right here with me, but it's in a dimension or a realm or a plane of existence that I can't touch or access unless I'm channeling or tuning in, right? But most of the time we don't see it. Just like that layer exists. So if we're here 3D physical and then like the 4D, it's right alongside us. It's not some other world. It's not some other timeline even. It's here and now. It's just invisible, like blanket, a couple, like I've heard of it being like 3 or 4 feet above where we are is where it begins. I mean, you can read books about this. Sylvia Brown has a lot of books about this. Okay, so that's the spirit realm. There are other realms existing alongside of us right here on this timeline, and they're just invisible, but they are here. And the first one that came up for me was Lemuria, which maybe will surprise a lot of people. But the frequency of it, and perhaps even the world, still exists, and you can connect with it through ocean energy, going in the ocean, surrounding yourself with the ocean, salt water, through whales, and specifically whale song. So like listening to whale song. This came up for a client recently in one of their readings, that listening to whale song would activate certain parts of their soul, their Lemurian self. So perhaps that would work for you as well. If you've had a lifetime as a Lemurian during that time here on Earth, then it likely would activate that for you. So ocean energy, salt water, whales, and dolphins all will activate that. The next like hidden frequency that will begin to emerge is going to be Avalon and the elemental world. Again, another world that exists still, started here on Earth, and at a golden age. And as you know, Earth is on a 24,000 year cycle with the golden age at the top and the dark ages at the bottom. We experience 12,000 years of descension, followed by 12,000 years of ascension, and then we hit a golden era. these golden ages or golden eras on Earth before what we're coming into now were Avalon, Atlantis, Lemuria, and then all these other ones I'm sure that I don't know about. So if they existed here on Earth at one point, my question was always, because Earth is on a cycle of this precession, it will always go back down, eventually back down into the dark ages. We can't sustain these high frequencies because Earth is a school and there's a reason for this cycle. There's lots of reasons for it. So it's not anything to grieve. It's a part of a natural process. So my question was, well, what happens to the golden eras, those ages, those worlds? Like when the energy goes down, where do they go? If they stay in those high frequencies, where do they go? And the answer is kind of like nowhere. It still exists here in this timeline on this planet with us. We just can't access it or see it, but it's still here. And that was hard for me to really like believe for a long time, but I'm starting to really see it and believe it. And these hidden frequencies and worlds will begin to emerge at first with people connecting with them and seeing them and sensing them and feeling them and being activated by them. So how you can connect with Avalon and the elemental realm, and there's a video again on this channel about Avalon, is through the forest, the flowers, and the trees. Okay, so all of that beautiful earthy magic, specifically a lot of flowers, trees, the forest, all of it. Yeah, nature. And being barefoot is a great way to outside. And then the next hidden frequency that is beginning to emerge and will become a strong force in 2022 here on Earth with humanity, especially the awakened souls, is the diamond codes and crystalline frequencies. So I've been talking about that for a couple of weeks now. We did the December 21st event. If you were not at the event on Instagram, I did a live. I would really encourage you to go back and do that, because just because you're not there during the live doesn't make the energies any less potent. It was like a full, it was like a body healing and clearing, and then calling into your body the higher frequencies of diamond codes and crystalline frequencies. You can totally do that. And right now, you could go do it right after this video. It doesn't expire, right? So just know that just like rewatching videos on this channel, the energy doesn't expire. If it was a healing, you can participate in the healing like it's happening right now and fresh and brand new. So I'm going to encourage you, if you feel called to step into 6D, if you feel called to work with diamond codes, crystalline frequencies, and that is about where the body experiences changes, okay? Where we're not just ascending our consciousness, the evolution of consciousness, how we always talk about that. Now it's the evolution of the human body and becoming the new human, crystalline DNA. If that calls to you, go and check that out on Instagram it's Starseed Academy. The page is called Starseed Academy, and it's under the videos section. Okay. So how you can access this, other than through that event, how you can access the diamond codes and crystalline frequencies is through your heart chakra for this one. Okay. So through your own heart chakra, that's where you're going to find the access to it, plus through the energy of the ascended masters and the angels. So it's a very ascended master kind of energy, an angelic frequency, and you're going to get all of that through your heart chakra. So go into your heart to connect with that. So as we ascend physically with Gaia, okay, she ascends with us. We ascend together. So Gaia was going through a lot of like the energies of ascension too, like her consciousness, the energies, the essence. Now in this year of 2022, it's all becoming very real and physical changes to Gaia and the body, physical ascension and transformation. So what does that mean? Probably a lot of turbulence, right? When it comes to Gaia, probably a lot of weather turbulence, natural disasters. I mean, we'll find out what it means. But when we see a lot of physical changes and transformation in the planet, you can know that that is her evolution, and it's a beautiful thing. Even when it's turbulent and chaotic, it is a beautiful thing because it is a part of the ascension process. And then in yourself, you might feel turbulence within a chakra or a part of the body that experiences pain or a lot of sensation as it goes through its transformation. Also sensitivities, a lot of sensitivities. I've been experiencing extreme sensitivities from food, and my digestive tract is just It's so intense. It honestly is so hard. But I know that it's all because it's changing. It's all transforming and changing. And I trust that. And I'm doing my best to move through it with grace. So you might experience this as well, in different ways. So, okay, so that was the last point, the hidden frequencies emerging. Okay, so again, go check out the December 21st event on Instagram to connect with the first one, the diamond codes and crystalline frequencies. You can go connect with that right now and help yourself to start to physically ascend. But there is more. There is more for 2022 because, like I said at the beginning of this video, or at the beginning of the Galactic Federation channeling, a lot is going to happen. They couldn't pick a theme. It's just a lot. Like, so much is going to happen. I do still feel, and again, like, timelines change and all of this, but I've been feeling this for a while. I still feel like we have 2 more years until a great shift. I still feel 2024 has a great significance to me. I feel that year. It feels significant. So 2024, I do expect to see a great shift in the 3D world, but that will affect all the worlds then, right? That will affect you in your higher timeline too. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be powerful. And our actions now are deciding so much of that. So your actions that you take now in this year of 2022 are going to decide the year of 2024 and how great of a shift we get to experience. So all of this is preparation for that. So, I mean, really take to heart everything that was mentioned in this, especially like the veteran souls one, where we need to like get back into the flow and get back into our momentum and the hopefulness and the magic and all of that. So, yes, I'm going to leave it there. I think this is probably going to be like the longest video. Let me see. Oh, just under an hour, guys. That's not so bad. But like I said, there was more. So there's more to come. So I'll probably do another part. So let me know down below. Do you want me to expand on any of this information? Let me know down below. Did you do the December 21st event? And how did that feel? Let me know down below. Are you experiencing physical changes in physical ascension in the body? So lots of things that you could comment on in this video. I will specifically be looking for your comments and I will try to reply to them all. Let me know also like any kinds of like video requests that maybe stem from this. Okay. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of that from you. I hope that this was helpful. We have a big, beautiful year ahead of us and so many people awakening. And I just want to finish off by saying, if you want to work with me, you can join the membership or you can do a one-on-one service. And both of those are super powerful. I love the membership group. Also, a reminder that I have something brand new coming out in February. Oh, it's so big. It's so big. It's been so much transformation for me to just even be able to offer it. So much growth as I prepare to offer this to you all. And that's going to be a group mentorship. So it's like a group course that we do together. And it's going to be called Psychic Light Training, all about using psychic gifts in service to the light. And it's all the training that you need to become a fully psychic being with all of your clairs, with channeling, and with astral travel. All the things the package that a light warrior needs to do their earth mission. So super powerful. I love you all. Please remember to like this video. Definitely share this one. This is a great one to share. Comment below. And before you go, please remember, listen to your heart and the quiet voice within. Because you are so much more than the body you are in. Thank you so much, beautiful star seeds. Have a great day. Bye.